Bungie's Destiny franchise is one of the most popular science fiction video game series of all time, and while the game itself is heavily in the first-person shooter genre, as with any good sci-fi property, it is packed to the gills with neat ship designs. But unlike the many weapon foundries of the Destiny universe, we know very little about the shipyards used by the Guardians of the Lost City, with a few exceptions. Originally, this video was going to be me ranking all the ships available in Destiny 2, but as I was exploring these ships and their designs, I discovered something. Now, while many of Destiny's ships exist outside of defined class distinctions, there are a handful of standardized ship classes in the canon. As I was sorting through the hundreds of ships available to players in Destiny 2, I began to recognize similar design language across seemingly unrelated ships. Suddenly, my ranked list became a forensic audit of the design of Destiny's starships, sorting through their hulls to match rogue ships together, extrapolating from the known ship classes which others might be variations on older designs, and which mystery ships are actually the products of familiar shipyards. There's still plenty of one-off ships that have no shared design language with any other ship type, and we might come back to them in a later video. So first, let's talk about the ships produced by and for the Last City. Known amongst the Vanguard only as the Foundries, these shipwrights of the Last City have several standardized ship designs for Guardians just starting their expeditions through the stars. Arguably the most recognizable space frame in the Destiny franchise, the Arcadia class is one of the most enduring designs available to the Vanguard. The most common jump ship of the Golden Age, the Arcadia class has still seen its fair share of use in the years since the collapse, even seeing special, unorthodox liveries for the Arcadia made available during Vanguard holiday events. The leaders of the Tower Vanguard each too have their own specialized Arcadia-class jump ships. Now branded as perfect for racers and daredevils, the Echo and Vector classes are two variations on a simple, single-engine design. The no-fuss space frame from which these two classes of ship are built means that the Echo and Vector class jump ships are some of the most modular in the Vanguard Armada, with many subclasses of jump ship branching off from these two base models, including a number of twin-engine variants. And as the favored classes of veteran Sparrow racing champions like Marcus Wren, Crom 8, and Tylosola, the Tower Shipyards have even made available replicas of these racers' custom Echo and Vector class ships. The most noticeable difference between the two classes is that of the Vector class swept wing design. The Vector class has even found use outside of typical Vanguard operations. During the tenuous peacetime following the Awoken's reoccupation of the Dreaming City, Emperor Callus of the Cabal invited hundreds of Guardians to participate in a special months-long event aboard his Leviathan, and offered gilded Vector class jump ships as a reward. Now, three subclasses of jump ship are shared between the Echo and Vector class. The first variant strips away much of the hull plating surrounding the Echo and Vector single booster, increasing the ship's thrust-to-mass ratio. In rare cases, this exposed engine variant has been seen with forward-swept wings, like the base Vector class, but in far more subtle a sweep. In contrast to this simplified variant, a bulkier model has also been made available by the Tower Shipyards. This variant boasts increased dorsal and ventral hull plating, as well as an additional airfoil on the dorsal hull. Additionally, the Awoken have manufactured their own special version of this variation that abandons the additional airfoil in favor of a slightly broader silhouette. A final variation of the Echo Vector space frame was produced almost exclusively for use by Clovis Bray Exoscience and their Warmind project. This variation boasts an extended nose cone and overall narrower space frame while maintaining the bulkiness of the previous variant model. Now, the Leopard class is another standard Vanguard jump ship built atop a bulky space frame with a heavily armored cockpit and engine nacelles. A slightly less armored variant of the Leopard class is available, which also ditches the Leopard's ventral equipment arrays. The Minerva class is the unofficial sister class to the Leopard, as each are supposedly ideal for use by warriors and commanders. A much bulkier frame than the Leopard, the Minerva class has seen use by Clovis Bray and a wide variety of Guardian fire teams, even prompting the design of special Titan and Warlock designs. In the wake of the Red War, the last city found itself with precious few emergency response ships, leading to the creation of a specialized Minerva-class variant, known as the Medi Valkyrie. This variant disposes with the standard propulsion systems of the base Minerva class in favor of specialized VTOL engines. Now this one is an interesting case. The Tower Hawk has been used by the last city and the Vanguard in and out of combat for years, but was only made available for Guardian use after the Red War. Most interesting about the Tower Hawk is after the reopening of the Dreaming City, it was discovered that the Awoken had their own variation of the Hawk design, supposedly rebuilt from blueprints that originated outside the system. The Juliet class was first popularized in the years before the Red War, with specialized versions rewarded to future War Cult loyalists and Crucible winners. But following the Red War, the design was reworked, arching the wings a bit more, shrinking the forward viewport, and enlarging the forward fins. Another class that saw substantial use before the Red War was the Kestrel class. Most popular amongst Guardians were the Slipper, Misfit, and Spindle Demon models. The Spindle Demon had a further 3 sub-models, the AX-19, CX-20, and EX-21, each of which were classified as extreme performance experimental variants of the base Kestrel model. With the destruction of the tower during the Red War, it's unknown exactly how many Kestrel models were destroyed, but the class saw significantly less use in the years following. One Kestrel variation to see limited use after the Red War was a special Black Armory variant called the Platinum Starling, and it remains the only Kestrel model even available for Guardian acquisition following the Red War. The Phaeton class is another victim of the losses of the Red War. Only one Phaeton model has ever been manufactured by the Tower Shipyards since, and is itself a special holiday edition built for Festival of the Lost. Now on to some of the other Starship foundries in the Destiny universe. The Vimana class comes from popular weapons foundry Hawk, and it seems that within this ship class there are 3 further distinctions: Vimana CER, Vimana IS, and Vimana S. Though it's unclear what exactly these distinctions mean for the use of the Vimana class. The Broadcast IS, for example, is a SATCOM technician vessel, while the Congregate IS is a civilian transport. From the nature of the space frame, we can assume that all variations of the Vimana class are intended as cargo or passenger transport, regardless of how their crews decide to use them. Now, the Bombos class is a small, light jump ship that I think is another Hawk design, since one of these models shares the naming convention of the Vimana class. Now, perhaps this means Hawk just commissioned their own iteration of this design, but for the time being I'm going to assume that this little ship is one from Hawk's Shipyards. Clovis Bray is perhaps one of the most famous names in the world of Destiny. Creators of some of the most awe-inspiring technology of the Golden Age, it should come as no surprise that they've had quite a hand in the design of many a jump ship. The Regalis class is one such ship. Originally designed by Elise Bray 3 years before her mysterious disappearance, Bray's Eon Trespass was the template from which all subsequent Regalis models were born. During Zol's incursion of the Bray Futurescape on Mars, Guardians discovered a decrepit version of Bray's original Eon Trespass, and in the years that followed, 2 new subclasses of Regalis were introduced to the Vanguard Armada, one seemingly enhanced variation of the Regalis NS High Water models, and another of unspecified taxonomy in which the only noticeable alteration is the lack of dorsal fin. A further swept-wing variant of the Regalis was introduced after the Red War, and a special, holiday-specific variant of the Regalis was made available to Guardians during Festival of the Lost. Now, the Odyssey and Nautilus classes are 2 of the most versatile space frames within the Destiny universe. Born from a specialized Clovis Bray design, the primary distinction between the Odyssey and Nautilus classes is the orientation of the engine nacelles, with the Odyssey's angled toward the ventral hull and the Nautilus toward the dorsal. The Nautilus class has remained mostly unchanged in the years since its introduction to the Vanguard, with the exception of one Chelan model variant, but the Odyssey class has borne many variations. The first of these Odyssey variants sacrifices a bulk of the wing structure for the addition of a pair of repulsor-style engines. After the Vanguard's return to the moon, some Guardians began adorning this Odyssey variant with a special livery to honor Eris Morn. The second Odyssey variant disposes of the starboard and port engine nacelles entirely in favor of 4 adjustable fins. And the final Odyssey variant expands and flattens the wing structure to allow for the addition of a number of solar panels, seemingly to further expand the Odyssey class' already impressive exploratory capabilities. Now we get to the classes where I couldn't really find any solid information about their taxonomy, but who were still obviously part of a defined ship class. Now, since we've just been talking about Clovis Bray designs, I wanted to talk about this first unknown class. Though it's not abundantly clear if the design is originally of Bray origin, it is said to have been discovered during archaeological studies of the Hellas Basin, the site of the Braytech Futurescape. Variations of this design persisted through the Golden Age. The second unknown ship class was designed by Ishtar Collective researcher and future War Cult founder Maya Sundaresh, and used a combination of traditional construction materials and VEX technology. Future tower-built versions of this design seem to dispense with the VEX aspects. Asher Mir of the Jensum Scribes pilots a special variation of this ship class, though it is unknown if his model maintains any of the original VEX systems. Third of the unknown classes is this attack ship design. The jump ship of choice for famed Titan Saint 14, this angular, heavily armored ship has seen use by New Monarchy, the Black Armory, and the Iron Lords. Fourth on this addendum list is a class only trotted out by the Tower during special events. And lastly is this unspecified ship class from famed weapons founder Tex Mechanica. It's got big honkin' engine nacelles. Now, like I said at the beginning, these are just a fraction of the starships available in Destiny 2. And if you like this video, perhaps I'll do even some more digging into the design and history of those other ships. But until then, this has been Jake Terrio with Terrio Studios, wishing you safe flying.